want you to really think about your hair in a little bit of a different way. So basically, you're saying that you put things on it and it never really curls up, and you really want a curl. You want a curl pattern to your hair, a nice silky smooth or whatever curl pattern. Now, the way you get that is have your foundation correct. Most people don't have, and what I mean by that is most people really don't have healthy hair. And let me just explain. Most people tend to have hair that if it's not falling and breaking and all of that, it's still not where the actual natural state is going to show up. If you look at the hair, and what I mean by that, if you look at the hair close to your scalp, that hair is going to have your true shape, your true type. That means that pattern of curl is going to be a lot smoother. That curl pattern is going to be, it's going to be a lot more defined. That's the best way to put it. But then as you move out, the, the curl pattern could change. And that's all based on what you do to that hair to manipulate it. For example, if you're flat ironing your hair, then you're going to have a different curl pattern because you're flat ironing your hair. You're going to, because that curl pattern, most people, in order to get their hair straight in their desired straightness, for, I apologize for the way I worded it, but in that desired look, then they tend to overheat. Most professionals tend to use more heat than the hair straight can tolerate for many reasons. Now, the other thing is if you're going to just wear your natural hair, we tend to do a lot of detangling, which gives us that whole pulling, going through it, trying to get it manageable. So we tend to get our hair kind of in the twilight zone of health. We're not really super damaged, but we're not really healthy. So the reason why the hair, I said all that to say this, the reason why in many cases products don't immediately curl the hair up, because when the hair, the biggest test is when the hair is wet, does it immediately curl up? If it curls up when the hair is wet, then what all you're doing with support products like moisturizers, and other support products, naturally textured, or whatever product you choose, it's supposed to pretty much freeze frame it. It's going to give you exactly what you have there. So I have a question for you. When your hair is wet, is your hair curly?
No, my hair is more like just woolly.
Okay,
It's
so
just woolly.
woolly
I may
meaning,
have a little curl here, a little curl there, but the back of my hair is my true pattern because it grows and breaks, grows and breaks. I never get any left. The top of my hair is a lot of heat damage because the ends just are straight. Never, But
okay,
the back of
so,
my hair
okay,
is more my natural pattern, and it's more woolly, cottony, more woolly, cottony. It looks nice when when the water hits it, and it looks hydrated and everything. But it's never curls like I see the other young ladies. It's just a woolly pattern. It'll stand up, and
and would it be
nice little,
safe, would it be
a nice
safe to
flow.
say, would it be safe to say that it frizzes up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say it kind of frizzes. It
okay,
kind of frizzes
so,
when it's
thank you,
dry.
thank you for that information. So what you're having here is you're having here, and you've just, as you stated, you have probably some heat damage because of the heated tools. So that hair, there's two ways to overprocess hair. So that hair may not curl up. That is two ways. One is to use a chemical or overuse of pressured heat. Because when your hair is straightened, if it's straightened permanently, your hair is going to give you a the cuticle is going to open, the chemical is going to go into the cortex, it's going to change the structure permanently. That's a process that happens. When your hair is over processed with heated tools, then that means that that temperature was too high for your strand. It burned the cuticle layer, and then it caused a meltdown, and it went right into the cortex. When it went into the cortex, then the hair began to start to basically thin out and straighten out permanently because the cortical fibers became flat and the whole type of hair changed. Not only type, but the texture, meaning the shape of the hair internally, and then because the cuticle was burned away, and then the size of the hair. So you can hold that hair up in the mirror and take a look, and you'll see not only are these ends straight, they're thin. And that's what traditionally happens. So even though this has all happened, you here's just dead keratinized cells. You can protect and preserve your hair and create um, hair that will stop breaking or stop thinning. Now, let's go to the nape area. That cotton, woolly, as you described, hair is going to have definition once you take a product, a support product, and you put that support product, and meaning the naturally textured, on it, and you take it and you smooth it through and layer. And this is just one item, but you would start with your shampooing and conditioning. As I said earlier, you're a good foundation, and then you support. So first, you have to use a good leave-in conditioner. I would recommend our hair vitamin. Then you start your support with what am I trying to do with my style, and use the naturally texture. Then after that, you take your oil sheen in a jar and you seal. And that way it freezes everything, but it's still soft and silky and shiny. Now, let's say, how can I get my entire head to look like that? The way you do it is the actual areas that have been damaged or that have the little straight ends, those areas, and even if they don't have straight ends, but they still not quite as curly as they used to be. Those areas you have to get your foundation, shampoo and condition. Then after that, you're ready for your hair vitamins on the ends, hair close to the scalp, down the body of the shaft. Then you're naturally textured, and then you seal it with the oil. Then you take it and you plait it, and then you roll the plaits because you're now trying to create the same look that you would have had that hair not gone through whatever trauma. And again, I'm just speaking from your words. I don't know. You can have, ma'am. Right. So that's all I'm saying. I'm saying that you can repair this hair. You can get through this process, and you can do something called a cut and grow. Every inch you grow, you cut a fourth of an inch or half an inch. So you still have, you're increasing length. It's too traumatic to do a chop. It's not even necessary to do a chop. You can save your hair by just changing some of your habits. And you have some options to send in strands, do a virtual analysis. You can go through all of that. And then you have options to have a full counseling session where you can we record it, and then you can actually, we can send that in to you. But really, all you need to do is basically change the way you handling your hair, approach everything. I'm going to recommend my book, Black Woman's Guide, and then Every Woman's Guide. You need information and in your head about your hair and look at it differently. Just this is not the hair didn't stop growing. It's not it hasn't stopped curling up. It's just right now there's probably a level of damage there. Whenever you think it's hereditary, whenever you think it's hereditary, always look toward the scalp and say, okay, if this is hereditary, then I'm if you feel like you've lost hair or losing hair, you can say, well, if it's hereditary, then what am I trying to say and what have I inherited? You can say, well, okay, density changes, female pattern baldness. Be on a strand level, it would be on a strand level or on a scalp level. So since you don't have balding, then it's on a strand level, which means that that is something that can be repaired. You can change things and then you'll be able to move forward with not ever going back to this short hair syndrome again.
It's so brittle that I've been buying the stuff to try to soften it, but I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. So
well, because it's so much out there, it's so much out there that it's yes, it is. But the thing is, you have to just say, okay, how can I become empowered to help myself? And then, quite frankly, this pandemic has really made it literally impossible for us to go in salons. So now you're forced to look at your hair yourself. Now, with all that being said, this horrible, horrible situation you're in, but what we want to keep in mind is that your hair, everything to care for your hair is really simple. You just have to have a balance. If your hair is brittle, that's because there's the balance is not there. Our hair does not necessarily now we can have hair that's oilier and drier. Yes, that can be genetically linked, but our hair is not necessarily going to grow from our scalp unless there's some type of disorder. And most people don't have these rare disorders that they think they do, but our hair is not necessarily going to grow from our scalp dry and brittle. It's going to grow from our scalp based on the foundation, meaning that the condition the scalp is in, as well as the condition, what we do to our hair once that hair has actually emerged. And do we have a balance? Are we protecting and preserving the hair and the scalp as it emerges? And if we do those things, then we're going to be fine. But if we don't, we're going to be on this cycle. And we're going to say, well, some years, sometimes my hair is better. Sometimes it's not. As long as that hair is emerging from your scalp with good density, in other words, the hairs per square inch are good in number, and also you're growing out a true texture, your follicle is functioning as it should, and it's just what happens after that hair gets out into the world. It's what you're not doing, or your stylist is not doing, or somebody's not doing to protect and preserve the hair and the scalp. And whenever that happens, then things go wrong.
Yeah, things are not progressing like I thought it would, because I've been 6 months without heat in my hair, and I expected a little bit more length, but I kind of see that why, because it's so brittle.
Not because you haven't done anything you haven't done what's needed to repair the damage that was done. I do want to say this. You can email me because I'll have to get to another patient, but you can email me and just kind of give me your story. I'll send you a bunch of links to what you need to do in order to move forward. If you'd like to spend a little bit of time telling your story, then you can. But I just want you to let me know where your problem is, and then what I'm going to do is send links on what you need to do about this problem. And if I feel based on this conversation, I do feel you need some counseling 101. This seems like you're having it now. We really need to give people the help with this pandemic. I did Zooms on 3 times a week when we were closed down. Now that we've opened the clinic, but we are doing private rooms for everyone. We are now it, we did those 3 times a week from March, April, and May. And in end of May we opened, and now we're doing counseling 101. So
Oh,
send me
okay.
the link. Let me
You
give
don't
you.
feel that I just need products and I send you a hair sample and I just need products, or you think I need counseling?
Well, we basically, if you do, if you are not able to we only want you to have what you need. If you're not able
Okay.
to send me information, when you send me information, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make some recommendations on the products
Okay.
you would need. The products. Then,
Okay.
if
Okay.
you
Yeah.
use everything and your problem is persistent, you're gonna have to cross some T's and dot some I's. So basically, what I'm doing now is
Oh,
counseling,
okay.
but there may be some things that we don't know that's in there, and through the counseling session, we draw those out. Now, this is counseling related to your hair and what we know is needed for your hair and scalp. So basically, that's what we start with. We start with products, we start with programs, and then we go from there. You can also just look online and say, okay, this is my problem. This is the program that I think I need. Then you can go from there. But if you're not, you just have to get what you need. I don't need this. I do need that. I don't need this. Right now, I can tell you right away what you need starting out. You need to have a good product line and a clear understanding of what's going on. You've got this free counseling today, so you've got a good jump ahead of a lot of people. So, what I want you to do is just email me, tell me a few things, remind me of our conversation today, and then what I'll do is make a recommendation on a program that is needed.
Okay. I'll do that.
Okay? Let me
Is
give
there
you
a
the
format you
email.
want me to email you? Okay. Let me have the email.
Okay, it's Lisa at LisaAkbari.com, and I'll spell it